Welcome to
Hello.
Hanging Up. Hanging Up with Ashley and Jen, or Jen and Ash.
However,
Yeah, either way.
whichever.
Whatever you feel most comfortable with. We're not here to boss. So,
This week was the Super Bowl, the modern age gladiator fair of American sports. And I don't love the football. So I watched for the halftime.
right?
But Jen does like
I
the
like
football.
football. I don't really like either of those teams. However, I was definitely in the Eagles camp. Fly, Eagles, fly. Beat the Chiefs.
But who's the chief that's with the Swift?
Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce's hair looked great.
It looked really good.
Even when he was depressed and
Yep.
like almost going to cry.
Yeah.
His hair looked really good. So all the hetero men out there, look at that.
That's
Google it. Get that haircut.
Good looking hair. Now it's in some ways he didn't look like he didn't. It's almost like he didn't play very much, so it didn't get too messy.
And as a straight woman in my 40s, I think the messier the better for me.
But at any rate, he did look good. That's for sure.
He looked good. There was not very much Taylor Swift, which was good.
I think we saw Taylor
Once.
one time. Yeah.
Trump once.
And Trump won. I think Trump was on twice, but maybe
It
just
was once by my count.
I
And then
think
he
I
was
saw
out of there, and I was happy about that. No one wants to see that.
No, we don't need it. Why is he there? It costs too much. Go away.
But-
Watch on TV.
You got to see Paul Rudd twice,
Double the Paul Rudd.
which is always good. And Paul McCartney
Paul McCartney.
twice. Those were good.
And you know, what was interesting about Taylor is she did not wear the Chiefs attire. I think it's because maybe she was an Eagles fan, longtime Eagles fan, so she, had to take something neutral.
She needed to get laid later. So she was keeping
I don't know.
cool.
I don't know. Some people think
After that
he's a
game and that
beard.
ass whooping, he was not in the mood.
No,
I'll tell you that.
probably not.
Nope. She just got on her private jet and went somewhere else. Was like, see ya, boyfriend.
I saw a meme that was like two choices for the city of Philadelphia. One if you win and one if you lose, and they both ended in destroy the city.
Yes, that tracks.
I think they asked people specifically not to, and I don't know if that's what got them, or if they were just going to be doing that no matter what.
Was it cold?
I mean, it's like kind of cold. I don't know how cold. It was warm enough
I mean, when you're full of
to tear down some light poles and stuff.
all the adrenaline and the liquor,
Yeah,
the weather probably.
doesn't matter.
No,
Yeah.
No. So those were the highlights. Oh, the
Yeah.
sacks. Mahomes got sacked like 6 times. So that's why I watch football.
She
Is
just
for quarterbacks to get sacked. It's my favorite thing.
I don't know why you like that so much, but she literally counted them. I don't know,
6.
6 times. Okay.
And the last one was a doozy. I thought for a minute his arm may not bounce back.
Well, I'm sure he's in an ice bath after that game because that was a beating. He's going to need he might need some therapy after that too.
And I'm hoping that this all leads to him not being in State Farm commercials.
Or the coach, or their coach.
Ugh. He looks like the Lorax, we've decided.
Yeah. He's like
What's his name? What's the coach's name?
Andy Reid, I think.
Andy Reid, up next to the Lorax. Google it. Pretty much the same thing. What else? What else with the Super Bowl? Oh, halftime show. That could be like a thing all on its own. But
Yeah.
we'll just go to the internets and read all the things about how amazing that halftime show was.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of very in-depth critique of what was going on. I just learned today, I think it was today or yesterday, that it was a PlayStation remote. That's how much I understood just going in. It was actually a PlayStation remote, and I was like game over in the whole thing. So I think that I did miss a little bit of it.
And now Drake is suing PlayStation, I've heard.
Okay.
It's a whole thing. It was good.
Thing.
I liked that the commercials were not political. I liked that there was no American masturbatory vibes going on, because there's usually always something that's like so proud to be an American.
It's usually a truck commercial, but they
Yeah.
did have the no hate.
And farmers, trucks and farmers and beer.
Yeah. Well, they
No.
had beer. The
Yeah,
little
but it was-
tiny horse moved the beer thing.
That one was
It's
cute.
cute.
But not
But-
like that's just a cute little horse.
But then they had
That
the
makes everyone happy.
Snoop Dogg and Tom Brady.
Oh, I hated that one. They're both Trumpers. Don't tell us you're anti-hate when you are
Yeah, it was,
backing up the biggest hate monger on the face of the earth.
it was a little bit rich coming from the two of them, but
Ugh.
I mean, Snoop Dogg, he's got a reputation for being a pretty chill guy, peacemaker or whatever.
Yeah,
No.
no,
Yeah.
not into that one.
I wasn't feeling it either, and to be honest, that's the one that made me the most angry.
You know what else I liked?
What?
There was only one of those Jesus, he gets us.
Was there only one?
There was only one.
Okay.
And last year I felt like it was every freaking commercial break.
Yeah. I thought it was the Mormons, but I learned it's not the Mormons. It's like non-denominational Christian or something.
It's regular JC love.
Just the JC
Traditional.
love. Yeah. I think they're good commercials. If I felt like that's what was happening in the church most of the time, I think I would like the church more than I do. But since it's not, it doesn't feel reflective of the world to me when I go into a church service or something like that. It doesn't resonate the same way. I mean, and I think you can get that from just being around friends and good people. I don't think that Jesus has to be involved. So your friends can get you too. But if you need that upper level, Jesus gets you, then I guess church is where it's at. Maybe if you don't have good friends that get you, maybe it would be helpful to get you through.
Well, I think the community of a church is great.
Yeah.
But that's all I have to say about that.
Fair enough. Anyway,
what else? Back to commercials.
So those aren't as
There
offensive
were
to me.
lots of alien commercials this year, which I think we're just realizing, yeah, aliens are among us. Let's joke about them in commercials.
So they released files that said there are aliens, or did they say that there's unidentified people? Do you know that?
They do not call them aliens anymore. They are non-human intelligence.
Okay.
I believe that's the term. And yes, there are people that have come out and declassified documents and said, yes, Area 51 was a thing, and we've been tracking, what do they call spaceships now?
It's not UFO.
It's not UFOs.
That's the old one.
Yep. Whatever the new one is. They've been tracking those, and there's lots of sightings, and basically they just don't know what's going on.
Okay.
There's something out there, and it's not us.
Okay. And
It's
apparently
not humans.
Well, the one was very sad because it murdered the alien who was eating Doritos or Tostitos or something.
Yeah, the door shut on him.
Yeah.
That was sad.
That's a sad one. I don't like that. He seemed like a really nice alien and now gone.
Yeah.
That can't be
the
good.
aliens were fun. I was into that. What else was there? Oh, the weird one with the tongue.
Oh, yeah. That was
Mountain Dew, the Mountain Dew with Seal, and then Seal, the musician, was singing on the seal. That was good.
I like that
That was
one
a
too.
Baja Blast or something.
Yeah.
Or is that a Taco Bell thing?
I don't know.
Mountain Dew, Baja.
There's a Baja Blast, I think.
Something?
Yeah.
And then Seal was saying, oh, that's a good attractive seal.
It's a
That
good
was
looking
funny.
seal.
Yeah.
I like that too.
That one was good. Coffee Mate, where that guy put the cream on top of his drink and then drank the cream and was so into it, he threw his head back and his tongue just started doing weird shit out of his mouth.
Yeah.
That was disgusting.
I don't drink coffee, but I have tried Coffee Mate anyway, and it's not good. So I don't know what they're talking about.
There was Chris Hemsworth.
Yep.
He was in a couple commercials.
Yeah, he was. And then no Chris Pine.
No Chris Pine. He's
sad.
my number one Chris. He was nowhere to be found in the commercials.
Yeah.
No Chris Evans, but there was Chris, the other one.
From Parks and Rec.
Yep.
And Guardians of the Galaxy.
Star-Lord
Chris.
Whatever his name is.
From Hawaii.
But he looked all skinny and weird and not himself.
I think they've had some work done.
Chris, you were always number 4 of the Chris's, and now you're out, in my opinion.
Okay. And Chris Hemsworth.
Number 3. He's your number 1.
Chris, although I love Chris Pine.
Ugh. Chris Pine.
Captain Kirk.
Those are all very sexy things for heterosexual women.
Think Chris Hemsworth is more likely to do.
He like surfs and is really good at cricket.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And now we have one more commercial we wanted to talk about that's been a little bit heated between us. This is our opportunity to contact our guest this week, and I'll let Ashley introduce him.
So I don't know if he's technically our guest, but we're just going to call him from time to time. He is my husband. His name is Jeremy. And on my Monday morning catch up with my business partner at work, we were talking about the Super Bowl and how we were excited that Kansas City got their ass handed to them and the commercials. And my business partner brought up a commercial that he didn't like. And I hadn't even registered it in my mind. I just watched it. neutral.
Yeah.
Didn't even think about it. But then he brought up some points that I could get behind. And he said, when you talk to your husband, ask him what he thought about that commercial.
Okay.
And my husband thought the same exact shit
Well,
as my business partner.
let's ask him.
And then I asked my other friend, who is a male of a certain age. So let's say between 30 and 50 are these men that I'm talking to. And he said the same thing. So these are 3 out of 3 men that did not like. So we're going to call my husband, get his opinion. And then Jen might yell at him. So that could be fun.
I'll try not to yell at him. I really like him.
Well, depending on what he says,
Yeah,
he might get the hang up.
he might.
Jen is in charge of the hang up today. So
Ugh, okay.
it's been a day.
Did we
Jen.
pick a word that he can't say? Toxic masculinity?
He won't say that.
Okay.
He might say Hong Kong, which really should have nothing to do with this subject. But if that happens, you are welcome to hang up on him.
Hong Kong?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't even ask.
Okay.
When I talk to him about it, he goes off on tangents. And sometimes I'm like, what are you even talking about now? So if he gets on your nerves, we're just going to hang up on him.
And if he doesn't pick up, we're calling my mom.
Okay. Then we're going to switch gears to
It's gonna
talk
be
about.
and I'll look
It'll be
forward-
a whole different perspective then.
That might be fun.
Yep. Making chili right now, vegan chili, because my wife is impotent in the kitchen and can't do it.
I don't think impotent is the right word.
I like it.
But okay. Okay.
It is.
Okay.
She's impotent. She can't
I think-
get it up
Yeah.
in the kitchen.
Yeah. I think impotent is only one thing, husband.
No, I think
Fine.
he's right. It can be. We can look it up.
Okay. Impotent.
Impotent means unable to take effective action, helpless or powerless.
I don't know how dumb you think I am, Ash.
Yep. I am impotent in the kitchen.
Yes. Yes.
I concur. Good job, husband. Okay. We are going to talk about the Nike commercial.
Yeah, we've been through the other commercials. Yeah.
Jer doesn't like it.
let-
Jen
Jared can speak for
thinks
himself.
you're a pussy.
Jeremy
Let's
can speak
commence.
I'd like to hear what
Let's
he has to
commence.
say before I call him impotent or whatever other word we're thinking.
So, Jer, go.
I just wasn't a fan of those things. It did not make any sense to me. So,
Are you a female athlete or interested in purchasing Nike attire?
Because I'm a female athlete. I am not a female athlete.
Okay.
I'm a male athlete.
Would you be interested in buying Nike?
Athlete? That's a stretch.
He's a hockey player. Man, it is tough to be married. It is-
Sorry,
Especially-
husband.
It's tough.
You're not hard. You're not sorry. You're just trying to throw me under the bus.
I
was
might
like
hang
a-
up on you for that, but I feel like I need to get more
He
out
didn't
of
say
you for
bus.
that.
Yeah, you haven't said the magic word yet.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not the magic word.
Nope.
No, it's-
I don't even
can't
think
do
you can possibly get to the magic word, so I think you're safe unless you'd go very far off track. But
So tell us more about why you didn't like it.
yeah,
So for me, in my misogyny and toxic masculinity,
I
I just didn't understand the premise of them talking and it sounding like they do not get represented the way they should, or they don't have enough pull in sports. Yeah. So I
I
just
see.
didn't understand it.
So to you, that's talking about like women's sports in general and not about one individual athlete against difficulty. Is that fair to say?
It was about the system of
Well,
sports.
I think there are a lot of, and again, I am blind or ignorant, as my wife would call it, to the systematic issues of our era and our generation that we're going through and all this
Just-
stuff. So
Just
yes,
say
I
what you think.
women can do whatever they want in this day and age for the most part and become professional athletes and make good money, and there's really nothing holding them back.
So to me, I took it as this is an individual woman who's taking on her own specific challenges in her sport. Like, don't be dominant, or what did it say? Don't take credit for her achievements.
No, I'm pretty sure that wasn't one.
That was one. We'll play the commercial so you can see, but that was actually the one from the basketball player. What's her name? Why, I can't remember. I don't know. But
Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark said not to take, it was something like, don't take credit, which is something that she's had an issue with.
Well, that's women hating against women.
Which is the most hate.
Yeah. And that's the thing. So for me, like, to you, I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what I was trying to say was just, for you, you're saying it sounds like women athletes are doing fine in general, and women's sports are doing fine in general. We don't have an issue there. And that it felt like what the commercial was saying is women sports are not okay, or something like that, that there's challenges to women's sports.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know how to really explain it. It just felt like a cry for not help, but like, woe is me in women's sports. And I didn't get that.
And what I heard it as is being a professional athlete is quite challenging, and there's people along the way that are going to say all kinds of things to you, and you have to get through that. So that was my read of it. So Ashley had another read, and she was actually a little more.
You don't give any amounts of shits on this subject, it seems.
Okay.
Just let her tell you.
I'm told I can't. I'm told I can't care.
You can care. I mean, on this, what we'll do is I'll just yell at you.
I thought it was overtly aggressive, and I thought it was making it seem that women should have to be just as aggressive as men. And I think what we need less of is aggressiveness.
Not in a sport.
Well, in some sports. Yeah, no,
know.
you don't need to be aggressive in some sports.
What are you talking about? That's as
You
silly
can
as
be
thing I've ever
you
heard.
can be competitive. Why does a gymnast have to be aggressive?
I mean,
They don't.
what does aggressive mean to you?
Aggressive. Be aggressive. Be aggressive.
A lot of people don't know this, but Jeremy was a cheerleader in high school.
That's right.
Hashtag.
I was the female soccer manager, equipment manager, as well as the basketball female equipment manager.
There it is.
Just so he could look at hot girls.
That is a smart man, and I like it.
Yep.
Did you enter a women's locker room without announcing yourself?
Oh, God, no. I never entered the women's locker room at all. That
Answer
was the
something.
90s. I would have gotten expelled from the school.
My old coach, we had a male coach, and he would come in and out, but that was the 80s, so it was a different time.
No, they would come into the locker room, but they would announce themselves, and they would wait until all the girls were dressed.
And you do. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it was just a dumb commercial. I felt like it was like a boohoo crybaby towards women's sports, when I think women's sports are very recognized, even more so now, right? They've come a
Oh, I
long
know.
way.
Ever since trans people
But-
have tried to play them, it's a pretty big deal to talk about women's sports now. We care so
Well,
much about it.
that was also helped.
We got rid of Title IX. Yeah, I mean,
I remember also during the Women's World Cup, there was a couple feminists who blatantly ragged on men because the female soccer player who scored the winning goal in the I think it was at the Olympics, or I can't remember if it was the Women's
when
Cup.
she took her shirt off.
Yeah, when she took her shirt
Oh,
off.
one of the greatest
all
moments.
and like she was like, I just wanted to punch her in the face, because she was like, and all the men are just looking at her breasts. And
Oh,
they're
well.
just looking at her breasts, Googling her breasts, and they don't see a powerful athlete. I'm like,
I will
the fuck?
admit
No,
that
I'm
I
looking
looked
at her
multiple
goddamn
times.
six-pack and being like, holy shit, that chick is ripped and really athletic.
Yeah.
Like,
That's a very
it was
normal
which-
reaction. She
which
looked great.
pisses-
It was
like,
awesome.
That shit pisses me off when there's that generalization. Like, rear throw.
Okay,
We were
okay.
expressed in the
Can
whole-
we all agree on this? It does not
What?
take much for a heterosexual man to sexualize a woman. You are sexualizing her with the shirt on or off.
That is fair to a point of, and how do we do that?
Well, we don't need details.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know, because we most of the time don't say anything.
Yeah, I think that's wise, and that's fine. But also, I mean,
I think more men should take off their shirts when they are celebrating.
they do. So that was the whole thing with soccer. Is she took her shirt off the same way that the men did, at the time.
I need to watch more soccer.
You do. You would like it. And for me, the moment was that moment with her. They did a commercial with her playing foosball with men, and she scored the winning foosball goal. And then they just look at her, and she's like, "What?" And they're like, "What gives?"
Oh, that's funny. That's a funny commercial.
So you can laugh at it too. They certainly have laughed.
So do you have anything else to say about the commercial or about women's sports?
I just think, I mean, it was what it was. I can't do anything about it. I can dislike it and think it was just stupid.
It wasn't a commercial for you, and you probably won't buy Nike as a result.
Well, correct. Yes, very, very true statement. I won't buy Nike no matter, I buy Nike just because I buy Nike.
So would you say that this would drive you to march or complain with your buddies playing hockey?
No, if we did talk about the commercial, I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to phrase it in any facet like those stupid bitches. I would talk about it in it just didn't make sense to me, and try to hear other males' perspectives on the.
We're looking at a man who has evolved.
Well, that's my point. That
Ashley
I
has
think
not
most
evolved.
men have evolved.
So why does I still don't get why. I mean, Jeremy's cares about, I think, a normal amount. He doesn't care at all. He just went, "Oh, I don't believe that." Bye.
And that was dumb.
Well, I think that was
I'm like, all of those women could kick my ass.
Yeah,
They make all way more money than I do.
that's a very fair
And
point.
I don't feel bad for them at all.
do we think in general that elementary age kids nowadays want to go play sports?
Yeah.
Do you think it's pretty even playing field no matter what gender you are in terms of
Meaning-
availability and
Yep.
it's accepted that if you want to be a little girl on the wrestling team, okay, fine. So that's another point to me where it's like this commercial in my mind was representing the antithesis of all of the progress that has been made. And it would have been much more effective in acknowledging
I looked at it as
progress
see,
opposed to just being aggressive and not very realistic.
I just didn't look at it as a commentary on women's sports as a whole, but in the individual challenges that women face, or an individual woman or a man might face. I got that when I was playing basketball a long time ago.
Well, and I think part of it, and again, I would think that's gone. I would feel like that's gone away. There might be less instances of that happening now than it was in the 80s when you were playing.
Yeah, probably, maybe, but I think still there's challenges. I mean, you just have a coach. Like, I had a coach that didn't like how I was as a person because they got mad at me in 5th grade and never let go of that anger. But there's challenges along the way in any sport you play. I mean, it's always about being fierce to win.
Well, I don't think fierce is the word. I would say persistent.
Sure, but
Also naturally talented.
have you ever heard anyone say that Kobe Bryant didn't pass the ball enough or anything like that? Like, he wasn't a team player.
Yeah.
People say those things about men too.
Right.
So they say the things about
But there
Caitlyn-
weren't men in this commercial. If there
It
were
doesn't
men
matter.
in this commercial, it would have
Why-
read a lot differently.
Well, I think it was geared towards the women's sports apparel line.
Right. And
Yeah.
people could do for this commercial.
Yeah. I mean,
At the same time, it's just like,
manufactured problems.
who knows what Nike really meant when they put out that commercial. I just felt it was an unnecessary way to promote women's sports.
Yeah.
I think in a different facet
And yeah,
that would have been more positive towards women's sports. I felt like it was almost very negative.
you felt
So-
like it was negative because you felt like it was exclusionary to men, or
No,
no.
I think it's because I want to know the story. Part of it is like, I want to know the stories. I want to know the potential, hearing what are these women going through that make being in women's sports a struggle for them.
What is so hard about
Every-
winning Olympic medals? What
Oh my
is
God.
so hard?
How many
No, none
people?
of that's hard. That's like their dream.
It's not I don't think it's
But-
the right way.
No, of course
convey
it's
it.
hard, or anyone would do it.
I think anybody playing professional sports, it's hard.
Yes.
It's not any more difficult than anyone else that's a painter or a very talented musician. The
Oh,
struggles are all the same.
You could do the same thing with art. It could have been like, you tell me I can't get, I can't paint with red.
It's more about, again, I'm not going to spiral into all the other social things that it could be. But I agree with Jeremy. I thought it was a negative lens to look at women's sports opposed to something that was more positive. Like the
Hey, girl.
Dove commercial. Do you remember the Dove commercial with the little girl running? It
I
was
don't-
like a 3-year-old toddler. And it was like, she loves her legs at 3 years old.
Oh, yeah.
And then at
Yeah.
14, she'll hate them and
Yeah,
think they're a new, whatever.
sure.
And then it said that 1 out of 2 girls drop out of sports because of things they were told
Body
about
image.
their body.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's a much more attainable and realistic message than we're going to
Sure.
get these women that are the best of the best and then tell you how hard their struggle's been. Like,
Yep.
it's just outdated. It's unrealistic and
I
not
disagree.
relatable. I don't think it's relatable.
These are people that are at the top of their field and whatever it is. That's always hard to get to the top of something. And they have to be pretty stubborn and persistent.
Correct, but
Yeah.
let's pick a different thing. Let's pick a high
like,
school
what I also found-
musician,
Yeah,
right?
what
Let's
also-
pick a high school musician. You have to be naturally talented
Sure.
and practice a lot.
Mhm.
Same thing as an
Yep.
athlete. You have
And-
to be naturally talented and practice a lot. Same thing as an artist. You have to have natural talent and
Yep.
draw a lot, paint
Mhm.
a lot, sculpt a lot, whatever. A high school musician is probably going to get a lot more motivation from a realistic mentor opposed to someone with the most
Oh.
Grammy wins telling you how hard it's been.
So you
with
think that
me.
the goal of the commercial was to inspire young people to begin at sports? That's what it felt like was the goal, and they
again,
missed.
What's the point of trying to sell a product if you're not going to try to inspire them to do the sport?
Yeah, I mean, it's just.
I think the goal of the commercial was for young women to be as loud and obnoxious as possible.
Well, that's already happened.
And
We
I
don't
think
need
that is
more of
something
that.
that we need less of in this world.
I need
Obnoxious.
so many loud and obnoxious people to speak up and to fight for the things that they think are right. I think we're going to need more of that.
You don't
Live
hear
performance.
from the people that are also not found out. There are probably a ton of Caitlin Clarks out there that just didn't happen to be born into the right family
Yeah,
and have the resources,
sure.
or didn't get found by the coach at whatever age.
Yeah, I mean, I
Like-
don't know if Caitlin Clark's family was rich or not. I don't know much about her origin story.
But most of any success is just circumstance and dumb luck.
You have to want to do this thing so bad that to get in your way. From step 1 to top of your game there's a ton of them. There's a lot of different things you have to overcome, and you have to be persistent. And I think you have to be stubborn. Look at what happened with.
I don't think stubborn
Simone
is
Biles.
the right word.
I think you have to have
Stubborn is not willing to
in the
change.
book.
And I think you have to be able to change.
What's his name? Morin book. It's like, I can't remember the name of it, but he says basically you have to choose the thing that you love hating to do the most. So like if you want to be, he's like, I wanted to be a rock star. The only problem was
Say that again.
It's a book. It's like,
You have to pick the
Unbook
thing
right?
you loved hating to do and do that.
yeah.
That's completely insane and makes no
let
sense.
me share you. Let me give you the example that he said. So he said, I wanted to be a rock star. Yeah, unfortunately. And I didn't think you would because it was really weird.
It was weird.
Do you want to know what it was?
Hypochondriac.
No,
You're so weird.
no.
Just that statement alone, we're hanging up on you. No, we're not going to tell you the word.
All right.
I
You'll-
thought you were going to bring up Hong Kong or whatever you brought up earlier today when we talked about it.
About what?
About Nikes and their work rights in Asia.
Oh,
So thank you for not bringing that up.
Vietnam, actually,
It's not Okay.
It's
Bye,
fine.
husband.
Now.
All right.
I'm going to go look right now.
All
Are
right.
you hanging up on me? Wait, hold on.
No, we're
Fucking
hanging
find
up
out.
on you.
Don't call back.
No. It's not by me.
Okay.
So what does this book say?
The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. In the beginning of that book, he says, I wanted to be a rock star when I grow up.
Is
I-
that Mark Manson?
Yeah. He's like, I wanted to be a rock star, but it turned out that I did not like practicing guitar. right? So he's like, there's always stuff that sucks. You have to be playing guitar when you could be out playing with your friends or doing other things or going to dances or whatever. These people who practice and practice and practice and practice. And he said the trick is you have to like doing that thing that you have to do all the time, even when you don't want to and you hate it.
Yes.
And so the people who are doing these sports that are getting to the top level, there's going to be barriers along the way that include other people all the time.
Correct.
So why is that offensive? I don't understand maybe they're talking about the system. Maybe they're arguing about the system. I didn't hear it that way.
I don't like it. Women, we need to quit.
Quit being catty and obnoxious. Women, we get to be anything we want.
Oh, God. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
What's the saying? You
Don't
catch
listen to-
more bees with honey than
Okay,
vinegar or
You
whatever.
go be a honey, then you little baby, you could be.
All you do is, if you ask for things nicely,
You always get
you
them?
meet any man with male energy, he's not going to respond well.
Oh, no.
Well,
I don't care. I mean, you get what you get out of life, Some people who make noise get something. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, I don't know. Maybe they're little entitled bitches, all of them, in that ad. But to me, not knowing the backstory of those people, it was certainly not offensive to me if I were a man, which I'm not. So apparently it is for some men.
I don't think any of them said it was offensive.
What did they say? They didn't like it?
That they just like my husband said, they didn't get it. Where in today's
I mean,
world, women have gained so much equality.
this is nuts that you say that. Like, we're looking at a moment where we could lose all of that in a heartbeat.
But not because of the mass majority of people.
No, because of what, 45% of the people, and
I don't
47?
even think a third.
Yep.
of
Let's say
the United States population did not vote.
right.
And just because someone voted for him does not mean that they were anti-female.
What is anti-female? They're very pro-female. The female who stays home and has a child, or the female who acts in the way that they want them to act, or the female that
That's
does
not
A, B,
every
Y.
person who voted for him.
Of course not. But that's the legislation that's in Project 2025. That's what's in there. I mean, it's about staying home and having more children.
But that's not the majority of American culture that believes that.
You
That's
just-
not the majority of young
Give it-
people that believe that.
We'll give it some time and we'll see if that changes. But I think it's worth still fighting and arguing for those things. I don't think we've reached.
I'm not saying women should be quiet. I'm not saying anyone should be quiet.
But
I'm just saying if you meet a man with male energy, he's not going to like you. Stuff's
Well,
not going to get done.
I'm too bad. Lots of men with male energy that I don't like. There's people I don't like that have female energy.
I
mean,
think there are
it's
enough
okay to
loud, obnoxious people. And the other thing is, I don't feel like a lot of those women are loud, obnoxious people in general when I watch them play
They're
sports or in the
badasses.
Olympics or whatever. So I also think it was phony because I think they just took a paycheck and said whatever Nike wanted them to say. And I
Oh,
think
for
it was
sure.
a stupid message,
Well, I mean, I don't know if it
an
resonated with
outdated
anyone.
message.
It might have been outdated. Maybe we, in this day and age, just shouldn't talk like that, I guess.
Do we have a sound effect?
I don't know if there is one for
Whispering?
a lady. We could do.
No, there isn't. Don't do a loud one right now.
The
So
loud one.
anyways, we'll put a link to the Nike commercial and you all can watch it. And then
Let us know what you think. It's a good conversation starter.
are you on
Also-
team it's a little outdated?
Yep.
And maybe not the right message,
Mm-hmm.
which is my opinion
Mm-hmm.
and my husband's opinion and the men I work with opinion.
The man she works with. One man.
There's another man I work with.
Who?
He will not name names. He's in my other business.
Oh, okay.
His name might be Bob Lowe.
Well, okay.
And he also did not like it.
Well, I think they're.
Or
I think
are
it's
you on Team Jennifer?
Team
Which
Jennifer?
is like, girl, do it. Say whatever you want.
I'm
Be
saying-
obnoxious.
No, I don't think it's obnoxious to say the things that they were saying. I think that being the best at something you're doing is challenging. And I think there's people along the way that definitely tell you, you can't do this.
And some people probably need to be told they can't do it because they can't do it,
I'm sure.
which is a whole no, or maybe they just can't do it.
And some people can't.
Do you
and
know
they make
how
the
many
right
people
decision.
maybe could be an amazing basketball player if they were only 6 inches taller?
I would
Like
have
it
been.
just happens. Or want to be a gymnast but are too freaking tall?
Or didn't go to a school that had gymnastics because we were too poor. Yeah.
I mean, just shit happens.
Yep.
So I think we should also quit telling youth, just keep trying and it'll be okay. No, it won't.
I mean,
Find something you're good at and do it,
and if you are
and you'll
good
have a
at it,
happier life.
you may still face challenges along the way that you'll have to overcome. I think that it's helpful to hear somebody say they persisted. Nevertheless, they persisted, and now look at them. I mean, Caitlin Clark was a phenomenon. Oh, she's the best. She persisted. Some people might think she shouldn't have, and I don't care. I'm glad she did. She kept going.
She can sing.
I sometimes think maybe I lack that specific motivation to go and keep going through something. I'll hit a challenge and I'll go, maybe that's not the right thing. So it might resonate more with me. It's like my mom told me when I was a kid and I was trying to ski and I had gone up and down the bunny hill slope, like forwards, backwards on the tow rope, one ski, no ski is on my head. And I just was doing all of it. When it came time to upgrade to the chairlift, I sat and watched the chairlift operator and talked to him about what he was doing, how it worked for about an hour. And then he just stopped the chairlift and put me right on the chairlift. And then mom says I never looked back after that. But I do specifically remember on my second trip up the chairlift, maybe being a little overconfident and then falling off. I was little.
You
And
fell off the
I fell
chairlift?
off the chairlift, but the man who was an older man was with me.
How far were you
I was literally
off the ground?
hanging up the ground all the way up the chairlift. And then the man had me just by my arm. And he was so calm. He's like, I got you. Don't worry about it. I was just dangling all the way up. It's in Minnesota. So the chairlift was like, I don't know, 30 seconds. It wasn't very long. It's not like going up one.
How high were you? 20 feet?
At least. I was up there. And then right before we got to where I'm supposed to, on deck and pull my skis up, he pulled me up and that was it. And he was like, bye, thank you. Thanks for not letting me die.
Was that did you go up the chairlift again?
I did. He was so calming. Whoever that man is, thank you. He's
Probably
he might be dead by now or
rest in peace.
rather old. But he saved my knees or something. I don't know, but he saved my life for my knees, probably just from injury, but
Well,
yeah.
it depends on how much powder there was.
You don't think it was Minnesota, so it was probably pretty icy. And I skied, and then I chased my brother. He was not very happy, probably that.
So is the point of the story that you quit skiing because
The point was,
you'd rather talk to someone?
I think I would have rather, if I didn't get that kick in the butt or just a push.
If the guy didn't physically put you on the chairlift, you wouldn't have gone.
Probably would have gone back over to the tow rope and done that some more. Feel pretty comfortable about things I'm comfortable doing and less comfortable doing things I'm not.
Which brings up another point that I have with that commercial.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a person who is naturally someone who's going to excel at something because you don't give up, I don't think you have to tell that personality type. They're already doing it. So that adds like a whole other level of phony, which I don't like.
I don't know. I don't think it hurt anything, and I certainly don't think it was or should have been taken as offensive to men. I mean, I just don't understand that.
Young, loud women are offensive to men. You will not get
Bad.
laid. You will not get married.
You can still get laid.
You
It's
might
ridiculous.
get a lesbian.
You cannot.
Not even true.
Lesbians, it's just, there's a few things going to depend on there. But the point is, absolutely, Jude, if that is who you are, then be that person.
Loud, obnoxious people? They're the worst.
I love the girl in the networking group that's loud and obnoxious and is always saying the question that everybody thinks not polite. I love that about her.
I have no problem with being not polite, but there's a difference between
you ever
being not
considered
polite and
obnoxious?
obnoxious.
And loud and obnoxious? I have been.
Loud.
Eh?
Probably.
I've been loud and obnoxious, and I'm not mad at myself.
But you can be loud and something else.
Not obnoxious?
Loud and assertive.
Powerful?
Loud and truthful. Loud
Mm-hmm.
and all sorts of things. But the second you put those two things together, it's gonna rub 50% of our population the wrong way.
One of my favorite is the quiet, obnoxious person who doesn't say it out loud, but says it just to me.
Oh, I like those people.
Yeah. But
They're funny.
that's probably
Is that you?
more me. And I am not obnoxious to everybody. I try to be kind most of the time, but I don't think that served me. I don't think that served me in every way. In some ways it has, but not in every way. I could probably be more successful if I were more, I cared less about what people thought about any of that stuff. So for me, it resonates for that.
You need the reminder. Another thing that's sort of in this subject of being anti
Okay.
man and being obnoxious. And we went to the make your shirt thing. We went to a thing where you could pick a shirt, a political statement on a shirt, and print it. And it was a fundraiser for a local charity. So we went, support the cause. I hated the shirt that said, I have heard enough from old white men. What's wrong with old white men in general? What's wrong with listening to older people that have life experience and maybe have something useful to tell you?
Yeah. Again, I think it's this idea that it's universal. Like, I think that that's referencing old men in Congress or something like that. That I think one of the things that's a common theme is that the older people don't really understand technology, and it's one of the biggest problems.
Well, but then, like, have the shirt say, make America young again, or make Congress young again. Do something.
I like that one better.
But to be make Congress young.
Oh,
or not even again. I don't know.
I don't know if they ever were, yeah.
But I don't like anything that's, I have a young son.
Yeah.
Not young. I have a teenage son.
Yep.
I love men. I think most men are great human beings. And I think we need to quit hating on them all the time.
Yeah. I can see some of that. Although I didn't think that would be a good shirt for me because it felt very impolite. So I wouldn't have said that. I picked anti-fascism is for lovers.
Which was one of the best ones.
I thought so. I mean, I get it. I think we do have to, there's a point where we have to stop bashing men, but also there's a lot of old men that I don't want to hear from. So as long as I'm just talking about the ones I don't want to hear from,
Yeah.
I mean, I love my father.
And there are some old people that are complete pieces of dog shit.
Yep. Old
Not
men and
everyone
women.
has, but as a culture, we need to respect people that are older. I think we would get a lot more accomplished if we actually listen to people with life experience.
Yeah.
And we need to quit hating on anyone because of their race or their gender or their sexuality. Just let the people be people. Quit clumping them all together. Because if you're going to clump me with white women in general, we're an annoying bunch, and I don't like that.
Yeah. I think that it's a little bit of a red flag comes up for me with that whole thing, because I think that this idea that we're post-racial or post-gender or whatever is not necessarily true. But
well, not anymore. But I think you and I grew up in a time when that was actually true.
Well, I think I'm 10 years older than you. 10 years older? So I don't think that was necessarily true for me. And I think there's a lot of people who...
How about your college days?
What about them? I went to an all-female Catholic school.
Oh, you were out of the loop.
We might have been in a different situation. But I was in Minnesota, which is a little bit more general. The area I was in is not liberal. And I went to a conservative Catholic school. So there was... One of the first days when I got on, our RA talked about how not to wear revealing outfits so that you don't get raped. Old white men are outperforming in terms of power. And so I think the issue is, like, to fight the patriarchy. We haven't had a female president. They've all been old white men except for Obama.
I think that had to do with the candidates.
I disagree.
Well, we'll talk about this next time.
Yeah, we won't have to get into that. But is that your hang up then? That t-shirt? Old white men and whatever?
Yeah.
You're weak.
Just quit saying that you're... Yeah. I'm over that. I'm hanging up on that. I'm hanging up on all the things that people in their 20s say and think is really fucking clever, and it's just stupid as shit.
You sound old.
I am old. Mm-hmm. And you should listen to me because I know some shit because I've lived more life than you. And you will all get there one day.
You will.
I've always been friends with older people.
Yeah.
My whole life.
I've always been friends with younger people.
See? Make friends of all ages.
I think it's wise. And I do think that we undervalue older people. But I also think that there's a small segment of older people who are running things that are really behind. There's been a lot of change in the past 40 years. I think Joe Biden was one of it. There's just a lot of old people who don't understand the real challenges that we're dealing with or are facing. But
maybe we're just making it all too difficult. Maybe it all just needs to be simplified and it could be understood a bit easier if we took things down, every issue down to like what is actually at the core of it.
you can just have AI summarize it.
Oh my God. Who knows? All of you out there, stay sane.
Stay sane. I
Stay
don't have any-
safe. Oh, what are you hanging up on this week?
my hang up. I knew you were going to ask me, and I thought about it again while you were talking, and then missed it. But I guess my hang up is I don't know. It's everything, man.
It should be
Red, white, and Greenland renaming.
Oh, yep.
Come on!
She's over
I'm
us buying Greenland.
I'm over the stupid crap that's being done every day as an assault on what's normal, and having to deal with assault after assault of stupid thing, including that, which came from a Georgia Congress. This came from a Georgia congressman saying red, white, and Greenland. It's so stupid. And then Trump saying, what did Trump say? That was like, I mean, just ridiculous. There's just plenty of ridiculous stuff coming out. I mean, I'm on my phone all day with work and stuff like that. And I do stop looking at it
When she shuts her eyes to sleep.
But then someone will text me, can you believe this? You know, and I'll be like, what? Now what? Oh, if we don't get hostages back by Saturday, we're going to invade Jordan.
This is Tuesday, the 11th?
Something like that.
Yep.
February 11th.
Yep. We'll get this out. So hopefully we have all the shit figured out in the Middle East by Saturday, America.
I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with us.
Have a wonderful week.
We appreciate you. Next time.
Boo sound.
Oh, girl, you got to give me more time than that.
Oh,
Yeah.
we sucked at the sound effects this week. We apologize. We'll get better for next week. Okay, bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.